Hey, what's going on? Welcome to my channel. This is your girl Ebony Kiana, and I'm still working on building my YouTube page. And I just wanted to record a video and talk a little bit about the stresses. So, if you are new to YouTube, if you are new to working on building content on your YouTube page, you're new to working on gaining subscribers, you're starting out from scratch, then watch my video because I am recording my feelings. I'm recording, my outcomes and what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what I've been going through, and how I'm going to build my content. Now, I know you hear a lot about just pick your niche, figure out you know, what your audience is going to be. I'll tell you, I don't have a particular audience because I've been in the medical field for 27 years, 17 years almost 17 years as a medical assistant, 10 years as a nurse. And I'm used to being a jack of all trades. I'm used to, having multiple things that I can do. So focusing on one particular area, it's hard for me to do because I like being versatile. So my niche, of course, it's going to be health and wellness. It's going to be health and well-being. It's going to be anything within the medical space. But I'll tell you, I've been changing. I've been shifting. My mind has been changing. My mom died March 8th, 2022. And first I want to say, please subscribe. We need to grow our audiences. We need to support each other. So subscribe to my channel. Watch this video, like it, share it, comment. Any thoughts? If you can relate to how I'm feeling, share your thoughts because I would like to know. The nurse in me, the human being, the mother in me, I genuinely care and I want to know. And this is a part of me being able to connect with people that I don't know. So please share your thoughts. Keep it respectful. We're here to build up. We're here to uplift. We're not here to tear down. We're not here to demean anybody. It's all love. At least that's the community that I'm trying to foster and to build and to be a part of. All inclusive, you know what I mean? As far as not being verbally derogatory. So we're going to keep that in mind. But with me, it's hard for me to focus on one area, one niche. And so I've always had my YouTube page since 2015, but it's always been a page where I was using it to watch other people's videos. I was using it to support other people. I was using it like if I wanted to see a video, if I wanted to watch a vlog, if it was on BBLs, if it was on veneers, if it was day in a life, lifestyle vlogs, things like that. I was all for it. And so now here recently, I'm uploading videos and I'm trying to build my subscribers because I had no subscribers, zero. And so starting from the ground up, it's been hard for me on YouTube, but I have to be consistent. I'm working on regularly uploading videos. But in the meantime, I figure, what can I talk about besides health and wellness, besides the Sporadic Flow podcast? If you love health and wellness, nurses empowering the community, check out our podcast, Sporadic Flow Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, watch some of the videos. We're building content on that. In the meantime, I'm working on building my own page that I've had. And so it's going to be a variety of things, but all within the Williams lifestyle. And so I've been going through several changes in my life. And I'm now to the point to where I want to share it with others because I know I can help somebody. I know somebody somewhere will be able to relate to what I've been going through and how I've been overcoming and how I'm trying to stay motivated, trying to stay positive, trying to stay on the, not the straight and narrow, but like looking forward, and not going back, and then also accomplishing the things that I set out to accomplish. So just a backstory, like I mentioned before, I've only worked in the medical field, and now I've been a nurse now going on 11 years. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I've lived in Dayton, Ohio. Now I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. And I've been married now for almost 8 years. I have 3 children. They're adult children, 2 boys and a girl. My kids are grown. Life has been so different, just adjusting from Brooklyn to Ohio, from Ohio to Texas, right? I moved to Texas because my mother. Same reason why I had to leave Brooklyn and move to Ohio was because my mom. I'm the baby. Wherever my mom goes, I go. So that's how I ended up, leaving Brooklyn and moving to Ohio. And now I'm here in San Antonio, Texas. I moved here August of 2012. Me and my 2 youngest, because my oldest son had graduated high school. My 2 youngest moved in with my mom and my step-pops. I was able to go to school to be a nurse. Decided to go to school to be an LPN, because that way I was able to make more than I was making as a medical assistant. And I said, okay, I'm going to get 5 years of experience under my belt before I go back to school to get my RN. So I graduated December 13th, 2013. Took the NCLEX January 2014, passed. Got my first job as a nurse. Moved out of my mom and my step-pop's house, which my mom was not happy with that because she wanted me to stay. But it's like, I wanted to have my own space, and I had been used to living on my own. But I told my mother, like, I'll make sure that I'm living close. I won't be too far away. So I was able to get an account with Apartment Finder, put in, like what area, my rent, things like that. Within not even working as a nurse 30 days, I had my own apartment, moved into this nice condo, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely loved it. Come December, January 2014, going into 2015, my mom got sick. That was the change of it all. My mom, her potassium was elevated. She didn't want to go to the hospital. The doctor, her kidney doctor, said, look, either you let me admit you into the hospital, give you medications to bring down your potassium. If you didn't know, potassium, if it gets too high, it starts to mess with your heart. You get heart palpitations. You run the risk of dying. You can go into cardiac arrest, but if your potassium goes too low, you end up getting leg cramps, things like that, Charlie horses, whatever. So my mom did not want to go to the hospital. She was set on not going to the hospital. So her kidney doctor said, okay, you're not going to let me admit you. You don't want to be admitted. The only other alternative, because we have to get your potassium level down, is to, and I think the normal levels for potassium might be 3.5 to 5.0, and my mom was already up over 6. And she said, oh my gosh, my brain just went blank. Trial drug. So research, pretty much be a guinea pig. So that's what my mom wanted to do. I took her to the appointments. They gave her journal, did her physical assessment. She had her schedule for her blood draws, the medications that she was taking. She would have to keep a diary of when she ate, when she took the medication, how she felt, things like that. Unbeknownst to us, she started to develop 3 ulcers within her stomach. So my mom was bleeding on the inside. We had no idea. Long story short, my mother became so full with blood that she ended up vomiting. Her blood level went low. She passed out. I didn't know, but then I had checked her toilet and saw that it looked like she had lumps of coal in the toilet. She had been passing black tarry stools. That is a sign of a GI bleed. Once my mom had threw up and all that blood came out, I know, like, that's why you've been feeling so bad. Like, you've been bleeding. So the only good thing about that is her throwing up in the house on the floor is that I had a rental. If she would have threw up in the rental, I could not imagine the cleaning bill for that. Like, I don't even know what would have happened. But I called 911. They rushed her to the hospital. I knew that I was going to have to keep my mom calm, because I know you're bleeding. The first thing that they're going to do when you get into the ER is they're going to put an NG tube into your nose, up here, down here, into your stomach, so that they can pump her stomach. And I know my mom had, like, I remember my mother telling me, like, when she was little, she was in the hospital, she had to have her stomach pumped, and something happened where the tube ruptured. My mom had a cute little scar where she had stitches. And so, like, I know. And so I had to talk to my mother. I had to encourage her. I had to keep her calm. I was able to talk her into, they're going to put the tube in. Once it gets to a certain part, they're going to give you this cup with this straw, and they're going to tell you to hold your head down and you swallow. You drink the water through the straw, and that'll help you swallow the tube so that it goes in to your stomach and all of this. So we was able to do that. Come to find out, she had the 3 ulcers. They cauterized it. My mother's blood count was low. It got down to a 2.9. No blood transfusions. We don't accept blood. So my mom, we had the liaison committee come from my mom's religious place of worship, and they was able to educate the doctors, and they got an alternative regimen for her with IV fluids, IV antibiotics, because the little bit of blood that my mom had in her body that was being circulated was, she was septic. So all of this bacteria and stuff from her gut spilled over into her bloodstream, so it was pumping throughout her body. And so she was on very aggressive IV antibiotics. They was giving her iron ferritin. She was getting EPO, which is erythropoietin. She was getting injections to stimulate her kidneys, to stimulate her liver, so that she would produce red blood cells and all of this stuff. So long story short, my mother was able to get out of the hospital. Well, that happening, it ended up causing more kidney damage. Of course, the doctors from the research company came in, and they documented that at least one person developed ulcers and was hospitalized. But that damaged my mom's kidneys even further. And then I want to say, I think in 2017, my mom ended up going into fluid overload. So she ended up, because her kidneys weren't, it was moving closer to 4. So she was getting to the point where she's going to need dialysis. So they put a port in her. She ended up first round of dialysis, hemodialysis, was, I think, like November 2017, I believe. And so we just had problems and complications. My mom wanted to exhaust all of her possibilities before she approached kidney transplant. COVID happened, 2020. Then come to find out my mom had hepatitis, not because she was an IV drug user. My mother was not an alcoholic or anything like that. Talking to the doctors, and they trying to figure out, like, my mom had never received a blood transfusion. So the ways that people normally contract hepatitis was not in my mom's history. I remembered growing up in Brooklyn, my mother always did security, and she worked for a women's shelter on Bushwick. Was it Broadway? Bushwick? Broadway. In Brooklyn. And my mom worked there for years. A lot of times, her being security, things like that, she broke up tons of fights. My mom had lots of scratches and things like that from getting into these squabs with these, homeless women, alcoholics, drug users. So we come to the conclusion that that's probably how she contracted hepatitis, was getting these, our largest organ that protects us from infection is our skin. So that barrier being broken down, the doctor said, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, because my mom was not an alcoholic. She was not an IV drug user. She had never received any blood transfusions. So it was like, yeah, risk bodily fluids, breaks in skin, getting blood on her because girls was fighting. She's breaking up the fights, getting scratched, cut, things like that. So my mother, they gave her medication to cure her hepatitis C. And we was going through COVID. My daughter was 21 at the time, and she was going to give my mom a kidney because my daughter was so young. Long story short, she had to go through this whole assessment, not only the pre-admission testing and make sure she didn't have any cancer, make sure she wasn't a diabetic, check her blood pressure, height, weight, BMI, all of this stuff, pap smears to make sure she doesn't have any kind of cancer, no abnormal cells, no breast cancer, things like that. Psych eval times 2 because she was so young. They wanted to make sure that she was psychologically okay to give a kidney, and understanding that it's a part of your body that you're going to be lacking, all of this. So as soon as my daughter gets green lighted, this is like August of 2021, my mom contracted peritoneal dialysis because by then she went from hemodialysis to peritoneal dialysis. And my mom contracted peritonitis. My step-pops did not sanitize the shower head, help my mom take a shower. She ended up getting sick. My mom hadn't been eating. She had peritonitis back to back, but they did cultures and come to find out the bacteria that my mom had in her stomach came from faucet water. My mom didn't take showers by herself. So, you do the research and you kind of be a detective and figure out, okay, well, how did she possibly get water into her tube in the shower, So my mom stopped walking August 2021, and then she died March 8th, 2022. So that's the backstory. Going through that, it completely changed my mental. I didn't realize it at the time. Like I'll say, my mom and I have always been like this. My mom was my ride or die, my heart, my soul. I absolutely love her. I can remember as a kid, certain friends' houses, like I'd be fine playing over their house, but then as soon as it comes time to go to bed, I'm crying because I want to go home to my mom. So sometimes my mom would come and get me, but then other times she's like, "Look, Ebony, you're fine where you are. Play, have fun with your friends. I'll see you tomorrow." You know what I mean? So like I could not live without my mom. So that was always a fear of, just knowing that unfortunately, as it is now, death is a part of life. And so it's not natural, but it's something that we deal with, being imperfect. And so I was always afraid of that. And then for it to get to the part where my mom was losing weight, my mom wasn't walking. She was less than 100 pounds. Actually, my mother was 97 pounds when she died from being 170 pounds, And it was like, it was a life-altering thing. Chemically changed my brain. I was in a depression, which I did not realize it at the time. But all of 2022... 2023 up until December of 2023, I had been in a fog, just going through the motions. That was one of the hardest things. My mother was cremated. We did not have a service. There was no way that I could, I could not tolerate. Like I know I would have gone crazy. And then my mom was the type where growing up, even if she didn't speak about something, it was almost like it didn't exist. So nobody wants to plan their funeral. Nobody wants to set these things out. So these are things that was never discussed. My mom did not have a will. So although my sister, 9 years, 9 months older than I am, since I had always, for the most part, been around my mom was married, but still like my step-pops is like, well, what do you guys want to do? And my sister's like, well, Ebony, what do you want to do? And I might just get her cremated. I know I would not be able to tolerate that. Like I probably would have flipped, I'm the type of person where I don't like to cry in front of people. I would not have been able to function. Like that would have broke me down. That would have broken me down in ways that, I would not have been prepared. I do have faith. I do believe in God. But it's still knowing mankind's hope in the future and what the Bible says about life and things like that, the condition of the dead, all of that stuff, still it doesn't take away the actual pain of going through the motions. And it was the hardest thing. I had gone through 22 and 23 in a fog, started waking up out of it December 2023. There had been a lot of things that my mom and I had discussed, things that we was going to do as a family, like trips we was going to go on. We was planning on relocating to the Bahamas, all of this stuff. We didn't get a chance to do it. I decided, you know what? I want to do something else with my life. Being a nurse is fine. Even as an LPN, I made good money. Having certifications in different areas, having experience in med surg and acute rehab, trach and vent patients, wound vacs, things like that, IV, TPN, total parental nutrition, stuff like that. Still, you still have to be tied to a brick and mortar. I didn't want that. I did not want to be attached anymore to a place of business. I had a pretty dope job. It was me and another nurse, but July of 2024, and I was going to Ohio around the 3rd of July. I forgot to wear my mask, was on the airplane, ended up contracting COVID, had to come back early while I was in Ohio, traveling. Actually, the same day that I left, my partner got fired at work. So I knew I wasn't feeling good. The job was stressful anyway. It's cool if we had two people because the things that she didn't like doing, I would do. The things that I didn't like doing, she would do. So we had it perfect. Well, now since she's gone, everything falls back on me. And so I was not feeling it. The job was toxic. I ended up quitting. Now, in the meantime, like I mentioned December of 2023, wanting to have a different course of life. Like I wanted to do something different. I wanted to see the world. Like there's so many places in the world I had never been. I've never had a passport, just always worked. I had 3 kids, ages 50, the ages that I was when I had my kids. I was 15 when I had my first kid. I was 20 when I had my second. I was 21 when I had my third. So now they're grown. I'm in my 40s. My kids are grown and they're on their own. Finished high school, honors, magna cum laude, summa cum laude, went on to college, degrees, whatever. Fine. Wasn't a statistic. Yeah, I had my kid at a young age, but still they did what they needed to do. Thank God, But I wanted to do something different. So I started looking online and doing research and figuring out how can I create multiple streams of income? How can I supplement my income? What can I do so that I'm not attached to a brick and mortar? I'm not clocking in for somebody else. You want to go on vacation? Well, it all depends on how many PTO hours you have. And then if you're a new hire, you can't take no time off. So, you get tired of that. Not having my mom completely changed me. I felt like I was transforming, or metamorphosis was going on where I was not the same Ebony that I was. And of course not. Duh. Your mom is dead. Like the first heartbeat that you've heard, the one person that's always been there. And I had a dope relationship with my mom. You know what I mean? And to not have her, that was really, really hard for me to get past. Now I'm finally to a point to where I can talk about it without crying. Today is December 2nd, 2024. We're coming up on 3 years of my mom being, deceased. And now I'm able to talk about it. Going to nursing school, we learned about the 5 stages of grief and things like that. But it's different when you go through it. And at some point, like I was kind of like feeling like a hypocrite. Like, here it is, Ebony, you learned these stages in school, and how do you help family members cope? And even, leading up to a patient passing away, post-mortem, things like that. But it's like, now here it is. Now I'm on the relative side, and the patient is my mom, and she passed away. She was on palliative care and things like that. It was really hard for me. And I knew in my right mind that I was not being a hypocrite, but it's just how you feel. Like, how is it, went to school, you work, and you help people, patients that you've had, you help their families, they have chaplains and things like that, but still lending an encouraging word, sharing an encouraging scripture to kind of like give them hope, and possibly, share a scripture with them, or tell them the truth about the condition of the dead, or mankind's hope, the future, things like that, that maybe they didn't know, that can find comfort. Now, me losing my mom, these things that comforted me, now I can really truly share with other people, because it's like, yeah, I knew. But different relatives pass away, and you deal with every death different. This was my mom. completely different, completely different. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to enjoy life. So I've been learning about things within the digital space. I've been learning about digital marketing, attraction marketing, affiliate marketing, running ads for not only my business, but then also other companies, having mentors, and then actually executing these things that I'm learning, putting them into practice. And then as I'm learning, the more I learn, then getting to a point to where I'm able to share it with others. Also digital products, things like that. And so creating multiple streams of income, the economy is getting worse. And so knowing that, if you can make your income with one job work, hats off to you. The majority of regular everyday people have to have a side hustle, things being legit, but then also trustworthy, building recurrent streams of income, and then learning multiple things. Because the way I'm trying to set things up, I want at least 30 streams of income. So there's things that I still want to do, things that I discussed with my mom, even things that we didn't even get a chance because I wasn't even thinking about it then. But I don't want to be attached to a job. And so my goal is to share my journey with not only, learning how to be monetized on YouTube, learning how to be monetized on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Z, what is that? I'm about to say Z, but it's X. My homegirl's name is Z. X, which, formerly known as Twitter. Being able to create these multiple streams of income, but then being able to share it with others, that's exactly what I'm doing. But it's like, how do you attract people to you? Do I do something like super duper extremely controversial just to have buzz? But no, I want to be organic. I want to be genuine. I want to be trustworthy. I want to be just as successful within the digital space as I am when I go to work. But I know it's something in me and I don't understand, but I don't want to work for someone else. I want to work for myself. I want to be able to help others do the same thing. I'm even learning how to do low risk trading, E-Trade, stocks, NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, with the Dow 30 and S&P 500. I was never thinking about things like that. But then these things that I'm learning, writing it down, and then being able to intelligently discuss it, and then be able to mentor others. I see myself on stages with my little headset and my cute little pencil skirt, or my pants outfit with my cute little pumps, hyping up the crowd and sharing my story, but then having something that I can teach others so that they can duplicate and do the same thing. And then to be able to coach and mentor, hold webinars and things like that. Tap into your creative side. And so, it's like trying to figure out a catchy title, a catchy name, a catchy community title, or something. It's a lot, but I'm going to put in the work. And whoever is supposed to be drawn to me, I believe wholeheartedly will be drawn to me. Whoever is supposed to be able to relate and to connect with me and to join the movement, and who wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income. It doesn't matter if you're an LVN. It doesn't matter if you're an RN. It doesn't matter if you're a nurse practitioner. It doesn't matter if you're a physician's assistant. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor. It doesn't matter if you're a surgeon. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter if you're, a certified nurse's aide. It doesn't matter if you're a medical assistant. It doesn't matter if you work at a convenience store. It doesn't even matter if you have a learning disability. It doesn't matter if you work in construction. It doesn't, brown collar, black collar, blue collar. Y'all don't even know if there's a black collar, but there may be a blue collar. It may be white collar. It doesn't matter. We all can, benefit from having multiple streams of income, because the bottom line is that the economy is getting worse. It's not going to get any better. So being able to supplement your income, that's having a side hustle. One of my mentors, my original mentor, was a registered nurse. She had 2 jobs, a full-time and a part-time. She was on maternity leave. Her baby was in the NICU, and she was at home. She knew she was going to have to go back to work, didn't want to leave her baby. And then she started looking at ways to supplement her income. And then she came across her mentor's ad. And then I came across hers. And you see, it's kind of like a domino effect. Those that are like-minded. So if anybody, is seeing my YouTube video and you figure, oh, you know what? I can relate to her. I've suffered the loss of a loved one that's kind of changed me and altered my thinking, my normal day-to-day. We still can go on. It's hard, yes. I'm not going to sit here and say, nah, it ain't hard. It is hard, and let me tell you, I never thought that there would ever come a time when I would be going through life without my mother. And then now my Aunt Boogie just passed away. All of my uncles are gone. My grandmother had 8 kids, 4 boys, 4 girls. They died in order of youngest to oldest. My Uncle Eddie died when he was 2. My Uncle Ronnie died. I don't even know how old Uncle Ronnie was, but I know I was like 5 years old. Then my Uncle Jimmy, my Uncle Billy. He's the one that nicknamed me Buttercup. And I have that tattooed. And it happens to be one of my favorite candies. I love peanut butter and chocolate. But my Uncle Billy passed away in August of 2020. And then my Uncle Jimmy, he was the oldest. He died, I believe, November or December of 2021, I think. 2020 or 2021. But then my mom is the youngest girl. My mother died March 8th, 2022. My Aunt Boogie was the second youngest. Or she was, older than my mother. She passed away November 21st, 2024. So I have 2 aunts left, my Aunt Marie and my Aunt Evelyn. My Aunt Marie lives in Ohio. My Aunt Evelyn still lives in Brooklyn. We're all originally born and raised in Brooklyn. And you start looking around and you notice like I don't want to say your village, but the people that have always been there. You look around and time goes and it's like, yo, where's everybody going? And it's so discouraging. But I know my mother would want me to continue going on, because guess what? When my grandmother passed away in 2012, she died March 24th, 2012, and my mom died almost 10 years later. My mom, my Aunt Boogie, my Auntie Marie, my Aunt Evelyn, my Uncle Billy, Uncle Jimmy, like they all had to be strong. And so I know my mom was suffering. I know my mom was mourning the loss of her mother because our family was close. Seeing my mom's example of endurance, of faith, of prayer, of pushing forward, I'm like, Ebony, your mother didn't curl up in the corner and die. She probably wanted to. But she had me to keep her going. She has my kids to keep her going. She had, my sister and her kids to keep her going. My mom was married. She still had some of her siblings left. So, besides her faith and things like that, so I have to remember that. I can honestly say the saying of time heals all wounds. That's absolutely true, because there is no way I could have recorded this video December of 2022. There's no way, because I cried. I wouldn't, to even be able to record myself and tell the story of my mother's blood loss. I could remember us being in church and me wanting to share that, and I wouldn't, and my mother was still sitting beside me. And just the thought of it, I got so emotional. So I do know I'm healing. Things that I've done to help me, besides reading the Bible and the Bible truths that I've been taught and I'm continuing to learn because I'm building on my faith, keeps me going, hands down. If I did not have the faith, if I, had not been associated with the religious organization that I'm associated with, I'll tell you, I'll be a whole hot mess. Completely, hands down. I'm sure my mom would have been too. But I would not be the person that I am today had it not been for what my mom instilled in me, and just going through life. Am I perfect? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't care what they try to tell you. Nobody's perfect. We all have an expiration date, but you can go on. You can be successful. And so that's my whole thing for my YouTube page, to share my digital businesses, these multiple streams of income, to be able to encourage, to motivate, and to let you know one thing, that every human being right now alive that has a pulse, that's breathing, that exchanging that carbon dioxide and that oxygen, doing that gas exchange, we all know what it's like to lose a loved one. But you're not alone. And so I want to be a source of encouragement. Everything that I'm going to be sharing on my YouTube page is going to be positive affirmations. It's going to be encouragement. It's going to be about endurance. It's going to be about faith. And you know what? Living a happier, healthier lifestyle, whatever that is for you. But creating multiple streams of income is something that we can all benefit from. So I'm going to be sharing that as well. If anybody has any questions about anything that I'm doing, I'll get into other videos about that. But I still wanted this to be the introductory phase, because I was thinking, to be able to open yourself up and to be able to share your life, to be able to share your experience, to be able to share whatever it is you're going through. It's not always easy. And and personally, I could say that, like, I know it's not easy, but it's doable. It's absolutely doable. And so that's what I'm here to say. Like, it's doable. We can do it. We can get through it. And we're going to lean on each other. So if anybody has any questions, if you've, need encouragement, motivation, endurance, prayer, things like that, scriptures that you could look up in your own Bible to help you get through the day-to-day, the rigmarole that we have to deal with in Satan's imperfect world, I'm happy to share that. If you are interested in supplementing your income, if you are interested in getting into the digital space, if you are into health and well-being, if you want to learn about stocks and E-Trade, things like that, digital products, hit me up. And we're going to do this together. You're not alone. Again, my name is Ebony Kiana. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, to like my video, to share it with your friends, to comment below, introduce yourself. And we're going to figure out how to get through the rest of the life that we have together, as well as being successful on YouTube. If you're, you want to know, because I'll tell you, it's hard trying to figure out what people are going to like. But one thing that I've been learning through watching other vlogs is the consistency, the uploading of videos, record content, share, record videos, talk, engage. You don't have to be doing a whole lot of stuff. I'm not real good at editing, and so I look forward to when those days improve, absolutely, because I want to get monetized on YouTube. I want to be able to have consistent content, and then also recording my journey, and then getting to the point where I can go live so that I can start holding webinars on YouTube to help people supplement their income, because I'm learning a lot and I want to be able to share that. Detoxing, the importance of wild turmeric and vitamin D and ashwagandha and shilajit, and detox teas, and restoring the body to homeostasis, and taking care of the body at a cellular level. Like, it's so many things. I'm not an expert, but I do have experience. And so these things that I'm doing, and I'm gonna share it with you, so that if it's able to help at least one person, then I'm glad I did it. You know what I mean? And so we engage. We're going to keep in touch. We're going to stay in touch. My name is Ebony Kiana. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.